Welcome to Whiskey's a Journey. My name is Peter Fossano, and today is Friday. This is another series that I'm bringing to you called Battle of the Bottles. I have selected these two bottles randomly from my sample pool. I'm going to go ahead and pour them and kind of taste them back to back, maybe do a little bit of rinsing in between, and then figure out, well, I'm going to try to attempt to figure out whether it's a Scotch, a bourbon, an Irish, a Japanese, or an international whiskey, whatever I have in my sample pool. These have been selected by me and put into the pool for various reasons. So once I reveal which one I like the most, we'll figure out why I put them into, if it's not obvious, why I put them into my sample pools. So let's go ahead and get these things poured, and they just have the little labels on the bottom right here, so I have an idea of what they are once I am finished. And while I am pouring these, just to let you know, I do have a giveaway going on right now. And if you are interested in a port flight giveaway, you can go back to my port finished whiskey video on Friday. And this is going to be a celebration of my 2-year channel anniversary coming up on May 1st. All the rules are in the description for that video down below. But basically what it is, it's United States only. If you are interested in donating and supporting the channel, you can donate $5, and every $5 increment will get you one entry into the giveaway. So with that out of the way, let's go ahead and get into this. I'm going to go from my left and work my way right. And as I take a sip, I'll just kind of give you an idea of what I think of these. So let's go ahead and get this battle of the bottles going for today. A little bit of sulfur, very sweet. I'm getting a little bit of a biscuit note or a vanilla wafer note. A little bit of pepper, and there's a lot of red fruit, like berry notes coming through. But I can't get past, there's a good amount of sulfur here. Oh. You know, when I start smelling these things, for some reason my mind just goes blank, but that sulfur, now it kind of clicks in. I get sulfur notes in Irish whiskeys. And there's a good amount of vanilla coming out of this as well. All right, let's go ahead and get it on the palate and see if that sulfur note is there. Nope, no sulfur note, but the vanilla, there's a good amount of oak in here. It's tremendous amount of sweetness. Vanilla, red fruits. I wouldn't quite say that the red fruits are like cherry, but there's a good berry note that comes through, and maybe a red grape as well. Spices there. And dare I say, like, there is a little bit of a cotton candy sweetness on top of that ripe fruit berry note. Whatever is in this glass, I like very much. Let me go ahead and get a rinse and move on to the next glass. All right, let's get this glass number 2 going. Yeah, a little bit of a sulfur note chumping out of this one too. I don't know if I'm just overly sensitive to sulfur or not. I know a viewer had mentioned once before that there are certain people that actually smell sulfur more than others. I don't know if that's true or not, but I'm getting sulfur in both of these. Actually, they smell very similar. Red fruits, vanilla, oak. The red fruit would be one of the, like a red grape note, almost a little bit of red wine. I guess that would be red fruit, right? Red grapes. All right, let's go ahead and get this thing on the palate. Wow, those are very similar. The sip that I just got on here seemed a little bit softer on the palate, a little bit more well-rounded than this one. And it could just because it was the second sip, a little bit more acclimated, but this seemed to coat a little bit more. It was softer, more well-rounded. The oak note or the oak tannin that I'm getting on the side of the tongue is not stinging like this one did. So I'm gonna be interested to see how this goes the other direction. Both of these on the first sip are enjoyable. I have a sneaking suspicion that they are Irish. So let me go ahead and rinse again and then move back the other direction. I'm just gonna speed this part up. A-B, back and forth, rinsing with water, not rinsing with water, and then figuring out which one I like the most, because right now it's a dead heat. They're both exceptionally well put together. All right, see you in a little bit. All right, so that one didn't take very long. I think they're both Irish. They're definitely going to be in the same family. My notes on glass number 1, I said that it has a little bit more of a sting to the ABV. It's sweeter on the nose, but it comes across a little bit flat on the palate. It's not as robust as glass number 2. I do get a little bit of a bitter oak note, and that sulfur completely went away. The dominant flavors that I'm getting are red fruit, vanilla, and oak. I feel that it's well balanced and it's put together rather well. Just not as put together as glass number 2. I'm actually preferring glass number 2 over glass number 1. It has more developed flavors on the palate. It did not come across as sweet as glass number 1 did on the nose, but on the palate is where it shines. I get a good amount of vanilla. The red fruit notes, that red grape note, is a little bit better put together. As I'm sipping it, the vanilla, the oak, and those red grapes and the red fruit notes develop a little bit more. It's not just a single, punch of flavor and then disappears. It lingers around a little bit more. The ABV burn is still there, but it's not as sharp as glass number 1. And it might sound like I'm nitpicking, but going back and forth between these two, I could reach for either of these at any time. I'm a big Irish whiskey fan, and I do believe they are both Irish whiskeys. So let's figure out what I've been drinking. I preferred glass 1 over glass 2, so let's reveal glass 2 first. And it looks like Redbreast 15. So that oak note, I think, came through pretty well on this, but it turned a little bit bitter compared to glass number 1. So Redbreast 15 came in second, and my first place was Red Spot. So Red Spot 15. So obviously this is going to be a 15-year-old Irish battle. And in this situation, the Red Spot 15 beat out Redbreast 15. Are you familiar with these two? If so, have you blinded them, and which one came out on top for you? Let me know in the comments down below. So let me grab these two bottles, and I need to double check the ABV and the finishing of them. All right, so Red Spot was on my right and Redbreast 15 is on my left. This is actually a completely new bottle. I have not opened this up. I do believe that the last of the old bottle was in this one. So the Redbreast 15 looks like it's coming in at 46% ABV. I do believe it is bourbon and Oloroso aged. And then the Red Spot, I think the spot whiskeys are always finished or always matured 3 different ways. So this looks like it is cask maturation, bourbon, sherry, and marsala. And it comes in also at 46% ABV. So not a bad matchup. And before I go, I'm gonna blend a little bit of these together and see what the 215s taste like together. So I got the Red Spot 15 and the Redbreast 15. Roll this around in the glass. All right, once again, that sulfur note is jumping out of the glass. It doesn't smell any different than either of these did on my initial nosing. Oak, vanilla, red fruits, a little bit of spice. Doesn't smell much different from them individually. So let's get this thing on the palate. So it did take a little bit of the edge off. The oak note's a little bit diminished, so I'm not really getting that punch of oak. It's still a pretty good combination, and I would be hard pressed to be able to tell that this was a blend if it was in a lineup of 3. So it's not a bad blend, but I don't think it would necessarily be a blend that you would do, because I don't see much difference between the blend and these individually. That's where I'm going to leave it. Wherever you're at in your journey, I hope you're enjoying it. And until the next time, we'll talk to you later. Bye.